As part of this home buying process, what are some other key members that a person might want other than a mortgage broker?
You want to have a very good realtor, and I emphasize that because I've seen a lot of realtors that haven't necessarily made sure the client was protected, didn't educate them on certain things that they necessarily should have. Not that I'm in that profession to know what should be educated, but there was the situation where the client came to me asking me these questions and I don't know the answer to them, but I needed to educate them somehow, so we had to find the answer. So a good realtor is so important. And then you also want to have a good lawyer. The lawyer is going to go through the mortgage documents, make sure that the real property report and the contract, the purchase contract is all very thorough. Make sure you're protected as well. And you're also going to want to have an insurance agent. You want to have insurance on the property as well as if something would happen to you after you buy that property, that your family is protected and everything's covered. So those are important key members.
And once you have this mortgage broker, then that basically means you don't need the mortgage insurance at all, right?
Exactly. If they can give you a better product that you can, and the biggest part is the affordability. Sometimes when people get into a mortgage, they don't feel like they can throw another payment into theirs for the term insurance. That is the ideal route to go, or a whole life, something other than the mortgage insurance in essence.
So that would just give you more flexibility to cover the house as well as many other things that might need to be covered.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes the lender would decline a person and you would have to go search for a B lender. Do they give you a reason why, and would you pass that information on to the client so that they can rebuild whatever they need to get to the A lender world?
Yes. We want to make sure that the client is always aware of what's going on, the reason that they're declined. A lot of times clients never see their credit bureau until they come and see me, and then I can go over the credit bureau with them and show them what's on there and what things mean, and that's so important to know what's on your credit bureau. And if I found that many circumstances a client has come from the bank and they didn't know why they were declined, or perhaps all they were told is there was something on their credit, but they never got any emphasis, they didn't explain it very well as to what happened. I think this is so important for the client to know, so that they know what to go ahead and how to structure things, how to fix what's on their credit bureau, or if it's an income situation, how to plan going forward to make sure that they can qualify in the future. But if it's a situation where it's going to be many years before a client can actually get approved, then we might take them to an alternative lender. Just because the alternative lender, they're a good option. I mean, the rates aren't that high that you would be deterred to going for them. You would not want to go there, but they're still very good lenders.
So is a bank even allowed to show the client their credit?
It depends, the different policies of the different banks. I'm allowed to show the credit, I'm not allowed to give them their credit bureau. That's the difference.
So you could show it on your computer, and then you could teach them what everything means, but you can't actually physically give it to them or email it to them.
Yes.
But they can always get it on their own for free from Equifax, right?
Yes. And that's always the best way, is to get the client to contact Equifax or go on to equifax.ca and pull their own credit bureau. It's so important to have your own credit bureau and monitoring it. It's so easy for a creditor to put something on there, but it's very hard for you to get it off. So.
And there are ways to protect yourself if you feel that you're a victim of identity theft, right? You could put a note on it so that if there is anybody tracking the credit, then a lender could call them and confirm it is them, right?
Yes.
For those people who are real estate investors, they tend to want to gather a lot of properties for rental reasons and for passive incomes. Do we get to a stage where we can't qualify for any more loans?
No, and that's actually an interesting comment, because a lot of clients will go to the bank and the bank will say that they can max have 4 properties. Well, that's because they're dealing with one lender. And the bank, the one bank. And that's where coming to a mortgage broker when you want to get into real estate investing is so important at the very beginning. Having the conversation, talking about your goals, talking about your long-term plans and the short-term plans, so that we know how to structure things going forward. we have so many different lenders available to us with so many different policies that we would structure those first couple properties with the lenders who will only allow up to 4 or 5 properties. Then we're going to leave the other lenders that allow you to have more properties for later on. And if you want to pull that relationship with your bank at any point, it might be to jump over that 4 to 5 properties where I might say, okay, now is the time you might want to go to your bank and see if you can get this mortgage with them.
Okay.
The banks will only allow you to use half, so 50% of the rental income from each property.
Oh, really?
So you can imagine how fast you would max out on your debt service ratio if you're only allowed to use half of the rental income. You wouldn't buy properties if you only got half of the rental income from them. So we have so many different lenders that offer much better debt servicing guidelines than just use 50%. So that's again where using the bank might hinder what you can acquire for rental properties.
Okay. So even if you're at 10 properties, 20 properties, you will still have lenders that would be willing to lend.
Yes, I have a few lenders that allow you to have as many properties as you want.
So even up to 100, that's not a problem?
As soon as you get to that point, you're probably going to be commercial anyways. But yes, we have different lenders who will allow us to go to those high numbers.
Okay. To make this process go a lot smoother, what kind of paperwork would someone need to provide you to make it go faster, smoother, and so you don't have to keep contacting us to get information?
Well, basically the first thing I always get from the client is the application. The application is going to provide me with the consent in order to pull the credit.
Okay. And that's something you provide to the client?
Yes, I will provide the application. After I have the application and I've pulled the credit, I'm going to ask them for a list of paperwork. Now, that could be dependent on the client's application. So if we're going to need a letter of employment versus the tax returns, because they're self-employed, it all varies depending on what's on the application. As well as if I'm using a different payment for a line of credit, then I might want proof of that payment than what's on the credit bureau. So documentation can vary a lot, but for the most part, if you're basic employee, you're looking at a current pay stub, letter of employment, any mortgage statements that you on any mortgages that you have, if you have rental properties, any lease agreements that you have as well. And then your down payment verification, if it's savings 3 months, bank statements, RSP statement if it's RSP.
Okay, so does Keystone Mortgage provide us with a list, basically a checklist of all these documents that's required based on your interview with them?
Yes, I have a list that's on my website at www.mortgageengineer.ca. You can go download it at any time. I also have some credit blogs on there as well. And I also have my mortgage application if you wanted to download and send me the mortgage application in an email.
Okay, so what's the first step that a client would do when they call you?
For the most part, I'll do a preliminary question period with them, what they're looking for, what the overall plan is, and then if I feel that there's something that I can do, then I'll get them to download the application. If a client is just looking at wanting to purchase a property, then they can just go and download the application and send it to me, because that's going to be the first step I'm going to need anyways.
I see. So can you tell us why someone would want to go to Keystone Mortgage rather than other mortgage brokers? What sets you apart from everybody else?
At Keystone Mortgage, again, it's a big part of what we do is educating. We like to make sure the clients are aware of everything that's going on, make sure that they're very comfortable with the entire process. I've trained all of my agents to do the same things that I do, and making sure that everybody is aware of any negative things that might affect their application or the process. Full education. However, there are many other very good mortgage brokers out there, and it's just making sure that you're the right fit for that mortgage broker.
So how many people is part of your team right now?
I have 5 agents underneath me right now.
Okay.
We're looking to grow.
That's great. So basically, if I were to get a mortgage with you, you were on vacation, somebody else can take over and answer any questions I have. Thank you, Raeann, for taking the time to teach us all about mortgages. We really appreciate it. And if you wanted to reach Raeann, you can reach her at www.mortgageengineer.ca or email her at Raeann, Raeann @mortgageengineer.ca, or even give her a call at 780-914-2620. Thank you so much, Raeann Lefebvre from Keystone Mortgage.
Thank you.